And now, from the rooftop of the Rockies, it's Backbone Radio with Matt Dunn.
Here we go, Hour 2, Backbone Radio, October 1st, 2017. Wow. Is it really October? Huh. Time is a-flying. Summer is long gone. Here we are in October. Halloween coming right up. By the way, I've got the best pumpkins in my garden this year that I have ever had. I've got some big pumpkins, about 4 of them. We already harvested one because it turned orange very early. My sweet little 6-year-old daughter planted that one. So we've got one already in the house, saving it for for Halloween. Anyway, hey, big treat here. We get to speak with the one and only Jennifer Kearns, frequent contributor to Back Radio. You see her when you turn on the TV on Fox News, Fox Business, and this week, there she was, Jennifer Kearns, being interviewed on the BBC, the Beeb, going all across England, probably even wider range than that. But Jennifer Kearns, thanks for being on board with us, and I have to ask you, what was it like being interviewed by the BBC? Maybe it's not your first time, but I've never seen you on that one before.
Hey, Matt. Happy October to you. It was a great time on the BBC Monday night. You know, when the BBC calls, you answer the call. They were interested to hear about what's going on in the American political landscape and, amazingly, in the sports landscape as the political protests began to get infused into our national pastime. So it was a great time representing the views of at least the conservatives in America and throwing those views across the pond so people can better understand what's going on here with the NFL protests and President Trump and all of the current news of the day.
That's right. And I watched at least 4 minutes of the video. I think that might have been the whole BBC interview. Were they very polite to you? Were they, did they comport themselves well?
They did, actually, and it amazes me that sometimes the foreign press can be kinder than some of the American press here, people like MSNBC and the like. It's interesting that the conduct which they, connected themselves with, I thought was quite nice. So it was a great time on the BBC.
Well, very good. And I watched a great interview, may I say, carrying the torch. But you talked about the NFL for the BBC, and I don't know if you saw this morning, it aired in America, but the Dolphins played, a football game in London, and 3 Dolphins kneeled for the national anthem, whereas they did stand at attention for God Save the Queen, interestingly enough. And funnily, the crowd in London booed the kneeling players. So even in London, the crowds get riled up. But apparently today, about half of the 49ers kneeled, but there's maybe only a handful of others. So we've gone from 200 kneelers last week down to several dozen this week. What's your summary of how this issue has been proceeding?
Well, it's interesting. It does look like Donald Trump is winning this battle over the national anthem, as we predicted last week that he would. What I have learned about President Trump is one thing. He does not take on a battle unless he thinks he can win it. So, we have this mainstream media reaction in America where whenever President Trump goes out on a limb and says something, people go, oh my gosh, he's tweeting again, or he's saying
Yes.
this again, he's being brash again. Now I've started to look, now that I know him a bit better, I've started to look at the tea leaves and start to read those a little more. And so when Donald Trump came out on this, I thought, why is he doing this? Well, he's not only doing this in defense of the American flag and by extension America, and by extension our troops overseas whom he serves as the commander-in-chief of, but he's also doing it, I believed at the time, to bait the left into a battle over the desecration of our American flag at a time when several key heartland states next year in the 2018 midterms are going to have seats up for grabs. So think about this. The president operating also as sort of the chief political strategist on the Republican side, really trying to engage liberals in this fight over who loves the American flag the most, who would like to see the American flag trashed the most when these key states in the heartland are up for grabs. I think it's actually a brilliant political move, and it looks tonight, at least, that he's winning. As you mentioned, those 180 players kneeled during the national anthem. As of this morning, excluding the Miami Dolphins over in London, only 11 players here in the U.S. had kneeled. That was according to ESPN reporter. And look, I think that's because Americans over this week let their opinions be known. This silent majority we've had for the last decade or two is learning to use their voice. And I'm so proud of the people in America for doing this. Already this year, we saw ESPN ratings were down about 10%. That was down about 14% over the same time last year. And we saw that mass exodus. Let's not forget that, Matt. Last November, the month that Donald Trump was elected president, more than 600,000 people unsubscribed from ESPN. That is significant. And you saw just last week a 17% drop in ticket sales. Add to that the burning of jerseys around the country. Look, the NFL heard this message loud and clear. And short of a rule change, you can bet that there were some conversations in some executive offices within the NFL this week about how this is hurting their business. America spoke, and they spoke loud and clear, and I think Donald Trump emerged the victor here.
And this is a question you're seeing people get asked, like Newt Gingrich and others, that, all right, so now there's going to be some kneeling before the anthem, and then there's some linking arms during the anthem, so it's kind of like some saving face routines being done by many football teams right now. And Newt Gingrich says, yeah, that's okay. You know, that's good enough as long as they're standing. Trump seems to be thinking that that's okay. And in my view, it muddles it up a little bit. It makes it a little complicated. And, they should just be doing the usual traditional standing in the right posture. But where do you come down on that one? I mean, is it good enough? Is it enough to save face anyway?
Well, I think so. I agree with Newt Gingrich here. I think, look, you can kneel before the anthem is played, but when that anthem is played, there are many people who have spilled blood over that anthem and over that flag. I think as an American, you ought to be standing for that. But look, a lot of troops I know, they say, hey, we're fine either way. We fought for that flag. We fought for people's First Amendment right to stand or kneel. It's really up to them. But here's what I think it comes down to, and that is just basic respect for the American position. And really, I think the players who were kneeling overseas while they were on foreign soil, that's really what I had the biggest problem with. You know, we always say when a president's overseas, you don't speak ill of that president. When diplomats are overseas, you don't speak ill of those diplomats. I think the same goes true. If you're playing in the NFL and you're playing a game in London and you're on foreign soil, you don't disrespect the flag of the United States of America, plain and simple. And I think they're starting to get that message a bit more clear. And hopefully by next week this time, hopefully this whole thing will die down and we can just get back to playing ball.
Get back to playing football without politics. Wouldn't that be nice? But I'll tell you what, this one will leave a mark. But how big of a mark, I guess that remains to be seen. You know, it's been an interesting national conversation. I think the NFL has been a little surprised at the reaction they had from their fans. And I think the media tried to downplay it a little bit and didn't really play up the extent of the outrage across America. But yet, you know, I think they got the idea. You know, I wanted to ask you about a couple other things like Roy Moore's victory in Alabama, but also about what's going on in Puerto Rico. The mayor of San Juan, Karen Yuliz Cruz Solo, has been pretty critical of President Trump. Turns out she's a pretty staunch Democrat and might be skipping FEMA meetings, not even attending them at all. But Trump shot back at this mayor of San Juan on Twitter, and he's being criticized for that. But Puerto Rico, how is this playing out right now? Is it being politicized?
Oh, absolutely, Matt. You know, you give Democrats one small opening and they'll politicize a ham sandwich. Look, my grandfather was Puerto Rican. I spent many holidays of my childhood in Puerto Rico with my grandfather and on that island,
oh, wow.
As well as back here on the States. So I know the area very well. Had a relative who owned the San Juan Caribe Hilton, which is a big resort there. So my heart certainly goes out to the people who were in the path of the storm. I think the damage there is greater than we've even seen because just over the weekend did we really start to get television satellite signals up on the island. So I think we'll begin to see some damage that's beyond our comprehension. But here's the bottom line. The federal response to this has been huge. But you're only as good, and anyone who's done disaster preparedness or disaster aftermath, swinging into action can tell you this. You can have the greatest federal response in the world, but it's only as good as what they call the last mile. So you can have Navy ships steaming into the region as they are and as they have been for the last week, and I'll give you some statistics on that. But you're only as good as your local official. And we saw this a lot in Hurricane Katrina. You can have the greatest federal response on the ground, but it's only as good as the local response. So what we're seeing is no drivers reporting for work to take the supplies that the U.S. is getting into that port.
Right. Looks like, and here's the break.
In San Juan.
Yeah, here's the break. Hold those thoughts, Jennifer Kearns, because this is big. We're going to continue on Puerto Rico. Jennifer Kearns when we come back.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
When it comes to your financial future, investments are like tools. They're essential, but they aren't as important as understanding what you're trying to build. I'm Becca Moreland with Baird Private Wealth Management in Denver. When you imagine the future you want for yourself and those who rely on you, you begin to realize how important it is to make the right financial decisions. And it's not just about the investments in your portfolio. It's about whether it makes sense to change careers, helping to fund a child or grandchild's education, planning for the life you want in retirement, or the legacy you want to leave for the people and causes closest to you. At Baird, your dreams and aspirations are our inspiration and our purpose. And when you share your vision with us, you can trust we'll put the full power of our expertise and capabilities to work toward making it a reality. Find out how Baird Private Wealth Management can help you at bairdcolorado.com.
Robert W. Baird & Company, member SIPC.
Hi, it's Peter Boyles, and I've been telling you for years the freshest seafood in town, the Fresh Fish Company at Tiffany Plaza. My good friend Karen Parker is the owner of the Fresh Fish Company. Karen, of course, raises lots of funds and awareness, some great causes for us this last year. But, as you know, when it comes to seafood, my 3 favorite words are delivered fresh daily.
We always love working with you and having you dine with us, Pete, but fresh is in our name for a reason. Fresh quality seafood is our specialty. We feature mesquite wood grilling and offer Denver's largest seafood selection. We serve over 20 varieties of fresh fish and shellfish and mouth-watering prime rib steaks. Our specialties include live Maine lobsters, king crab legs, and calamari.
The Fresh Fish Company is the place I bring my family and my friends, special celebrations, also my favorite places for lunch. Karen, what's the best way to make a reservation?
We're accepting reservations now at thefreshfishco.com, or you can call us at 303-740-9556.
So come enjoy seafood delivered fresh daily at one of my favorite places, the Fresh Fish Company.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, can I still take advantage of today's low rates? Is it still a good time to refinance? The answer is yes. Now's a great time to call Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.875%, APR 4.05%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
From PureFlix Entertainment,
Eric has suffered a traumatic brain injury.
3 families brought together by a crisis of faith.
I'm remanding you to the juvenile detention center.
Now their faith is all they have left.
The only thing me and Teresa have been doing is trusting in the Lord, and look where it's gotten us.
Divided by loss, united by faith.
All of the answers can be found right there.
A Question of Faith, rated PG, in theaters now. For tickets and more information, visit aquestionoffaith.com.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidate? With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100-plus job sites with just one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your job better than anyone else. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter does not depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. In fact, 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within 1 day. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Simply screen, rate, and manage candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Prager. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Prager. One more time, try it for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/Prager.
This is Backbone Radio with Matt Dunn. News Talk 710 KNUS.